Good evening again, and I'm really delighted to moderate this amazing panel. We have an amazing 4 speakers, people who are very engaged in community work, community organizing, and trying to make our communities better. So we'll learn today from your experience. We have 45 minutes. The first 30 minutes will be for you to present, but then I really want to encourage our audience to ask questions. And I think instead of reading your amazing bios, I would start with giving each one of you 2 minutes to introduce yourselves. 2 minutes, ja. Not more than 2 minutes. And we'll start with you, Samina.
Assalamu alaikum. Everybody can hear me? 2 minutes. Oh boy. When I was doing Toastmasters, they would hold up those yellow card, red card, and yes. So my name is Samina Uddin. I'm an immigrant, yes. So I was born in Pakistan. I was 10 years old when my parents immigrated here. I grew up here, married, went to school, university, and now 10 grandchildren, alhamdulillah. I am the founder of NISA Support. This is a community organization which is 11 years old now. It is NISA Support. NISA is for women. It's a women's organization. And I don't know if I'm supposed to, what am I supposed to say? Is 1 minute up?
Just introduce yourself and then we'll come to the...
Awesome, okay.
Bonsoir, I'm Jean Panet-Raymond. I was born, I guess, in community work, I think, coming from parents that had this sense of having to fight for rights and community collectively, individually. So I don't have any merits, I guess. I don't know if any of you know the comic strip that's called Asterix, and there's this person that fell in the magical sort of a magical culture. And so I think my engagement, I'm still in sort of, I'm still like this towards a lot of the rights that you alluded to that are not recognized. And I met the group, so I'm still very angered. And I hope the provincial MPs are still there, because it's often a provincial matter of recognizing past experiences. So I'm still actively involved in that, and we'll get to that later on. So I'm involved still in the neighborhood, 2 neighborhoods that have always been incoming neighborhoods for immigrants, Côte-de-Neige, where I was born, and Saint-Michel, where I was born 50 years ago.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Dina Souleiman. I'm the director of Welcome Collective. To introduce myself, I'm originally Syrian. I haven't been to Syria for a very long time. I'm a little bit embarrassed to say how long it's been. But I also grew up in many other countries, and obviously from my accent, you can see I lived in England for a little bit. I've been in Montreal now for 30 years. When I'm asked the question about community work and in this field, it's funny, I don't take a lot of time to reflect on it. I think when you're in the community field, you just sort of jump in and you do what you feel you need to do, and you ask yourself, where can I contribute and where can I have impact and what's important? So taking this time a little bit is a little bit strange sometimes. So where I'm at now is I'm the director of Welcome Collective. We're a non-profit group that works with asylum seekers who've recently arrived and really help them to settle in that sort of 0 to 6 month period with material support and just general integration. And we're also you can't help people without also advocating for people. You see all the injustices and you have to address those issues. So I'm really proud to say that over the last 3 years, Welcome Collective has really sort of spoken up on some of the realities of the systemic issues for asylum seekers. I think we were one of the first organizations to really highlight the discrimination between sort of the reality of the Ukrainian refugees and the non-Ukrainian refugees, and we were one of the first ones. I know we really struggled with it because we didn't know how to articulate it, but I think once we started, and that sort of led on to lots of other things as well. So I think that's a little bit of who I am.
I don't know. So first of all, thanks for this excellent evening. I really am so happy to see all those people. So I'm Ahmed Elpannann. I'm originally from Egypt. I came here to Quebec 20 years ago. And I'm an engineer. I graduated from an engineering degree from Egypt. Then I did my master's degree in IT in UK, and then did my PhD here at Concordia of computer science. Through the 20 years, it was a long journey. I mixed a lot of academia work, community work, education. I came here with my little family. I extended my family here. I came here with my wife, my son, and I still remember the first day I came here, I came with 8 big luggage, and everyone was laughing at the airport, someone, small family, 3 small, 2, and a pile of luggage coming here with all dreams. So I remember that. And after 18 years of working in the community, in academia, in business, I work as an AI consultant. I have my own AI company. I started to feel we need to teach the youth something. We need them to know our experience. So I with others, we founded this great project, the CYD, and at the very beginning, we told everyone, guys, we are here. I saw a lot of organizations that they let the youth work for them. But here, we are working for you. And that was the idea behind this center. We work for the youth to let them know, to educate them, to bring them, to make them lead. And we follow. Why not? We follow their product. They have to lead, and we follow their leadership. And that's my journey. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I will go now to ask you the first question that really relates to the 2 presentations that you just heard. And I want to hear your feedback. Some of you, John, you have been teaching social work at University de Montreal for many, many years. And as an activist and someone who's working in community organizing, hearing these 2 presentations, very powerful ones. And as someone who also was with them during the learning process, how do you see in the personal level, the personal empowerment of the participant, but also in the way they selected the issues and presented the mission and the vision?
First of all, I was really impressed, and I hope you'll put them on the PLEDJ website. I said that at Concordia a few years ago. I think their projects are really well summarized. I mean, they took loads and loads of theory and put it in a few minutes, and I think any member of parliament would be able to understand the issues. So I think, first of all, the issues are fundamental, and you raise them very well. And I was thinking of what we've tried to do. I'm talking about Saint Michel, but also Côte-d'Ivoire, because more than half of the population was born outside of Canada. And the idea of recognizing or not recognizing those differences professionally, personally, is extremely harmful. And not just for those people concerned, but for the community that you're arriving in. So I think it's building bridges is mutually enrichment, not just for the incoming community, but for us also, us being those who were born here a few years ago. So first of all, I think the way you summarized the issues and the solutions is extremely relevant. And I'll just open up with what I see coming out of this, that's probably the issue that we want to discuss. I see the 3 levels of community engagement that you mentioned. The first is the I. You all talked personally, from a personal standpoint. So you illustrated your personal experiences, and that's always extremely powerful. For you to be able to express it, and for others to realize, wow, this person has quite a trajectory, and I should be able to recognize that. So the first I is helping yourself by affirming your rights, or hopefully your rights, but affirming what you went through, and having the other recognize it. The second level is the we. You started already identifying things that you have in common, and you also have differences in common with others within your community and others within the incoming community. So I think identifying those differences and those similarities makes it more possible to build those bridges, and that's extremely important. And the third level I saw is the beginning of a together. So I, we, together, meaning other we's, other differences, other communities, and learning about the community resources in this neighborhood, the West Island, and elsewhere, and building those bridges, and then starting to build those coalitions, those collaborations to influence policy. So I'll come back to that because a lot of the empowering has to become collective so that it helps you individually and as a small group. So I think in that way, the projects are extremely powerful. I could see some links with projects that we've done in Saint Michel, and I'll talk to some of you on the medical practices specifically, because there's a tremendous need and there's a tremendous slowness, I'll be polite, in not recognizing fast enough those experiences. So I'll start on that. So I'm very impressed, and I hope we get to diffuse them much more and make them public knowledge for others in other communities and in the political policy range also. I'll stop on that.
Yeah, perfect. So, Samina, as someone who is leading a women organization, someone who believes in women power in this process of whether it's integration or any process of positive social change. And we just saw in the stage that the majority were us women. How do you translate that? How do you see this? Why we women are the first to jump on that track of positive change? Sorry, Ahmed. I have a tough question for you.
That is a tough question,
That's
for us,
absolutely
even for women. I guess women are the caregivers. They are the ones who raise family, their children, boys, girls, and that's where the whole society comes from, doesn't it? It's first of all your family. That's the core, the core family, and then from there grows your community, and thus the society. So I think women innately have this in them, and I think this is why. And men, aren't they all always out of town, traveling, working? In general, I'm not talking about all men. And I think women do have that, I think, and this is the reason I think I did concentrate on women. And women are the ones who are taken advantage of as well. I was coming from an organization which was niche. It was helping women when they were in a distressed situation. They were victims of conjugal violence or domestic abuse. And so I served in that organization for some years as a board member, then as a president. And after a few years, I took a break. And I'm a proactive person. I said, this is something, we are really helping this group. We're helping these women. But is it more like a Band-Aid solution or a treatment? What is it that we can do as preventative? And this is when I would be thinking about this, and I would talk to my husband, and I would say, this is what I want to do. And he was the one who believed in me. He said, go for it. So I guess men believe in women as well, and women believe in women. It's our strength. It's once a woman sets out to do something, she'll do it. And actually, the young, beautiful woman that was here, Madame Talbot, she was the first one. I was just so excited and passionate about this project of this program, and I just, the very first group I had was with 5 young new mothers. I called it New Moms Cafe. It was their support group, and it was held in a police station for the first 6 sessions. Then I went and asked the police station, can I book every Wednesday afternoon? They said, no, we can't do that. So then I went to Ville de Pierrefonds City Hall, and Madame Talbot was there. And I was just so excited. I need a room, I need a place to have these groups for my organization. Who are you? So what I'm thinking, when I was listening earlier, the 3 modules of your program is first self-awareness. The second one was, if you meant
social and community work.
Community work, and the third one was how to implement it. Right. So I think I went the other way. I just said, I'm so excited and passionate about this, I'm going all for it. And I went first to the city asking for space and so on. Then I went backwards. Then I said, okay, I guess I need to register an organization. Then I went to the notary and did all of that. So I kind of went backwards. And then I went back to university and myself did a community service certificate. I need to know a little bit more about this. So again, women, I applaud you all, and your question was about women, and I think women, once they put their mind to something, they could, sky's the limit, really. And they were beautiful, I think, both of the projects, and I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit more about them. Thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, Samina. And Dina, as someone who is working with refugees and asylum seekers, with people who are really in very difficult situations when they arrive here, and as someone who is aware how the system see and view refugees and asylum seekers as victims, as burden, and how do you liberate the refugees? How do you bring them to the place through your work from that victimization, where not only the system is viewing them as victims, but also they have been told every day, you don't know the language, so you don't know how to. And just looking at the people from the needs point of view and not from the strength point of view. And as someone who knows a little bit of your work, you are absolutely looking at refugees and asylum seekers as heroes in some ways. Can you elaborate on that?
That's a big question. I think with any community that's coming in and it has the challenges, I think, if I'm going to do it layer by layer, I think there's always immediate needs, and I think those need to be addressed, whether you have a roof over your head, you have, a bed to sleep on, a winter coat. I think that's, people forget those are important and primary needs, and if you are missing those essential things, you can't go to doctor's appointments, you can't show up in any place. If your coat is tattered, you're going to be judged. You need to go to a medical appointment for your child. You don't have the right. It sounds very basic, and it is, but it's so fundamental. I think that's the first step. And in whatever the population and the community, the immediate needs are to feel safe and secure, I think you have to address that as the community organization. If people haven't eaten, you can't get them to fill out a form that's going to take all day, if they coming in and the children are hungry. So on that sort of primary level, you need to make sure that people are safe and secure and have their basic needs met. And then after that, everybody comes in with their level of readiness to sort of go on to the next stage. And I think you need to be respectful to that. You have to really pay attention to you as an organization, you as a person coming in with, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to empower somebody and they just need to do this. Everyone's coming in with their own level of what their trajectory is. And I think the first step after that is just really listening and creating a safe and welcoming place. And I think, you know, we talk about that as being sort of a fluffy thing, but it actually is, I think, the first step, probably one of the most important steps, I think, in community organizations. No one's going to go anywhere if they don't feel welcome. No youth is going to go to a youth center if they don't feel safe or someone's not welcoming them with a smile. And I think that's the next stage, that just feeling welcome, that whatever your needs are respected. If you just want to sit on a chair and not talk to anybody, you can sit. You can come for a whole, 6 months and sit on a chair and not talk to anybody. So, there's that welcoming stage. And then after that, the layers will unfold. And as you were saying, the youth will lead. The individual will lead with what their needs are. You will come in as a, professional or understanding the system, and you'll try to put the pieces together, and they should really guide the initiative. Because if you're coming in taking care of everything, you haven't empowered the person. And at the end of the day, you don't want to set up a dynamic where people think they need you in order to function. That, I think, is a model we don't want. We talk about empowerment, and so you need people to lead you to where they want to go, and and you do know the system. You know if you want to go back to school, or if you want to register a child for school or take French classes, or you want to work in the daycare system. What do I need to do? So you have some of those basic tools, and then I think it's just a back and forth between that person as they build their life, and whatever community center you have, that someone can come in and go as they're building their layers and as they build their life. And you are fundamentally building a relationship with that person and creating a dynamic where one day they'll come and maybe volunteer and give back to a system that they participated in, or even take your job, So, it's that sort of cycle and layers, and it just takes time. I don't think you can rush things. And you have to understand there are obstacles and things may not be a straight line. And that, I talk about welcoming, and I think relationship building is really important. Just taking the time to get to know people. People don't necessarily want to talk about their problems straight away. They want to see if they can trust you first. Exactly. So can I just have a conversation with you? And then now I'll tell you what I really think. So it's many layers of relationship building, and it has to be navigated back and forth. And I think that's my little intro. I can't remember your question, but
but you answered very well.
All right, so that context.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
On the
Please,
welcoming
feel free
culture,
to, if you have
la
anything to add,
culture d'accueil, it involves that you let yourself be challenged and destabilized by the other in their perspectives and their backgrounds, and that's not always we don't always consider that as an organization that helps refugees, for instance. So it's a cultural posture of letting yourself be destabilized and challenged in the way you do things, rather than saying, this is the way we do things here. Do you have any other questions? Next.
Well, thank you. Ahmed, one of the major issues when immigrants and newcomers are arriving to a new place like Canada or any other place is how to integrate yet to maintain your own identity and be proud of who you are. And many times balancing or navigating these murky waters is very, very difficult. And one of the ideas that stood very strongly when you decided to establish this place is exactly this: how you integrate into a society and become a contributor, yet being very committed to who you are and be proud of your identity, because no one can give if he is still shaking, or she or they still shaking in their own skin. So how do you balance? How do you see this kind of work?
Okay, it's very, very tough question, huh?
I know.
So first of all, as I said, like I've spent 19 years working in different organizations. So the idea didn't come in a day or night. It's after 18 or 17 years of working in very big community organizations, and I saw the challenge. I saw myself, someone is coming overseas, reading misconceptions, not real stories, reading from the social media a lot of unreal stories or unreal things about the society that he will face. And he is coming here to very conservative, very cautious to integrate, because yes, if I did that, I will lose that. If I did that, I will lose that. And one of the things I myself liked it. Like I joined the francisation classes at like different levels. And one of the things, okay, today is Friday, and I'm coming from a religious background, and I need to find a space to pray the Jum'ah. And everyone is, okay, what you are doing? Where are you going? Things like this, it's everyday challenge with all the immigrants coming from Muslims or Arab or Middle Eastern countries. So I said, okay, we have to give an example. We cannot all the time complain. We cannot all the time point the finger to others. You are not helping us. We have to help ourselves. We have to create an institution. We have to create a space that plays this role. We cannot only rely on, yes, the Canadian Association, the Quebec Association are doing great work, trying to teach the new immigrants how, like integrate them. But our association, our institutions have to take this role. We have to play a role to integrate the newcomers, to integrate, to like break these barriers, and that was the idea behind the center. As I said, like, okay, people coming to me, is it a religious center? Is it Islamic center? I said, not necessarily. Like, we are all coming like from different background, from different religions, but yes, you can come, and if you want to join one of our programs and you feel you look like the others. It's not strange space that you shy to share your experience, to share your challenges. Sometimes people are shy to share their challenges. Like, okay, I don't know how to deal with my kid, but I don't know how to share this with others. So we are trying to create a safe space for newcomers, for first and second generations to come, participate, contribute. We have very success stories. One of the things like in the society, people are successful like you. Like you are successful. Come and share your experience. Come and share how did you overcome all the challenges that you face, and teach others how to do that. That was the idea behind, and I'm happy that people believed in this project. Like like without a lot of support, a lot of people who believed in this cause because they felt, yes, that's what we need. That's how we established this space.
Yeah. Thank you. And my next question, and then I will open the floor, and that's a question for everyone, me included, but I won't take your time. So in some ways, we are doing the job on behalf of the government as NGOs. We are telling the government, we will do your job. In the meantime, you take some rest. And we are talking about a holistic change. We are talking about structural change. We are talking about policy change. And if we want to do this change in a way that it goes from the personal to the communal and then to the institutional level where we change policies, how you as NGOs are making sure that your work is leading to policy change, and it's not the work that you always do in behalf of the government. In the end of the day, we are all citizens, and the government has the responsibility. So how do you do that kind of work? And it's up to you who wants to start, the first to jump, the one who loves speaking about policies. Yeah.
As I mentioned before, I think you have to go beyond the community organization level and build coalitions and collaboration. Otherwise, I think the influence on policy is very, very difficult. So you have to build a base and a power base, and that's the name of policy making, really. It's to influence on a broader scale. So there are a lot of...
How do you do that?
That's the difficult step, because most people come into organizations with a nigh perspective. They're in need, and they're in dire need sometimes. So that obviously will have to be addressed before you go to another level. It's meeting others that have the same problem or have similarities and differences that expands your vision. So it starts at a local city level, I would say, geographically, and sometimes it's, and even at that level, organizations don't know other organizations in the same neighborhood that would be relevant to them. So that networking is extremely important, and it can be through general meetings, or it can be informally. I think we don't do enough informal networking amongst community organizations to start with. So it can be a festive event. I should be in Saint Michel right now celebrating because there's a festival. It started around food insecurity and poverty, and we built sort of a buyers club and then a cooperative and started having community gardens. And then we realized, oh, this other neighborhood is doing the same thing. Oh, they're doing this in another city. Maybe we could build bridges and influence policy to get support to develop those things. And there's something known in Montreal as a budget participatif. It means part of the city budget is open for citizen projects. And we got almost $1.2 million to build a greenhouse, so to expand on this community garden. So that's a small example of how, on a local level, very specific needs, understanding what's done elsewhere that could look like what you're doing, and then starting to try to influence policy. I think the first level, the city level, is always probably the easiest, because you have more access to a city councillor than an MP that has a much broader sector. But it starts very, very small, and using the media. We don't use enough of the media to have this known, and that's how people say, oh, we read about this, or we saw this on social media. Could we collaborate? So it's a long-term process.
Good question again. So if I remember, there were two questions. One about our role as community organizations and how to create policy change. I think it's good that we have community organizations. I think the public system has its profile and its pluses and minuses. It's a little bit slow to react. Maybe it's stable financially, but it's definitely embedded with some administrative challenges. And as community organizations, you have a lot of flexibility. So I think the partnership between public and community is a good thing. As a community organization, you can basically do what you want. You want to do a demonstration, you want to go talk in the media, nobody is stopping you, and you don't have to get the authority, and the policy doesn't say that you can't speak to this person and that person. So I think it's actually good to have a community profile in grassroots organizations. They're the ones who are really going to shake things up, and they're more in touch with what the shift is happening. Public organizations have a delayed reaction, and they have their own politics. So I think the makeup is good. I think the question becomes about funding, and when the community groups and the public organizations don't collaborate and work well together to address the issues, that becomes a problem. I'll give you a simple example. We see housing issues, and the public institutions will well, it's not my problem. I don't have space, or they're not officially refugees. I'll expand on this example. We've seen a lot of internal claimants profile who have housing issues. These are families who are claiming asylum inside rather than at the airport. So that means they're not officially in the system. So the public system says, well, they're not officially refugees yet, go fill out your paperwork and then we'll help you. But in a month, what do you do when you don't have housing? So that's an example of the lack of collaboration. But then as a community group, we're like, well, things are changing, you need to change your system. So to answer that question, I think it's a good thing and we're more in touch with the realities and we can create more systemic change that way. The other question about policy change, that's also a really good question because we always ask ourselves that question. So maybe I'm going to use our example as an organization. We've decided that, you know, in the pillars of creating change, whether it's policy or changing the public narrative or you know, a sort of a media campaign, whatever you decide to do as an organization to contribute to this change, we've really decided that, you know what, we have so many resources, this is what we're going to focus on, and our sort of specialty is really getting the word out, and we have really good media contacts, and we really use the voice of newcomers to amplify the issues. We've decided not to work on other things because there are other organizations that do that. Yeah. So we've said to ourselves, okay, let's join these coalitions and their groups. We're going to go to these meetings. We're going to question. We're going to highlight what the problem is. And we're going to say, you should be working on that. So we've really decided that we want to be strategic because you can't do everything, but you need to work together and figure out what you can contribute and what your strategy is as an organization. I think over the last 2-3 years, we showed up more in these different concertations. And one example of that change is the Canadian Council of Refugees now is doing a campaign on welcoming newcomers. So now we're going to join that campaign. We don't have to do that campaign, but if they need a voice or a testimonial, we're like, we know families, we can speak up, we'll contribute. So that's how we're creating change. And we're leaving the policymakers who have that expertise in lobbying and sort of real advocacy, that their work is just advocacy. We let them do the work. Our work is frontline, so it's really about working together and figuring out where you fit in. And also stepping back, letting people do their job. And if they're not doing their job, you tell them they're not doing their job. Like, this is what your funding is. Go, and this needs to be addressed.
Wow, thank you so much. I'll let Ahmed go if he wants.
It's okay, I have it. So it became, Madame Garceau became the star after like the MP left and the municipal left. She became the star for tonight's event. One of the things that we do here is we open the space for people to understand their rights first. Like I will start with the policy change. People, especially newcomers, they don't know how to change things, what exactly should be done. So we open the space, come and learn your rights, learn about the system. What is the difference between different levels of the federal level, the provincial, the municipal? What exactly the role of MP or MNA? What exactly they do? And that's the first step we do here. Like, to start with policy change, people need to know their rights first. And secondly, we are open for initiatives. Sometimes people, okay, I need to launch a petition to do something. Is it feasible? Yes, you can do that, and we guide them through the steps. You can go online, do that, submit your, we can help them review their, what they want to write. Or call directly the office of your representative. Directly call them, yes, and just discuss with them what's happening. And that's what happened yesterday. For example, yesterday, some people came and they want to discuss something on the federal level. We came, just call. We gave them the number of Samir. That's why he escaped, and and speak with him. Just speak with him, because you need to show him that, that's his role, that he has to act. So the first thing, we open a space for discussion. We teach people their rights, and the collaboration with other organizations, very important. Like, our challenges, I'm from Middle Eastern background, Black community, yes, every single community has differences, but they have also similar issues. when we sit together, we speak together, we share experiences, we share, we are opening here like good channel with the West Island Black Community webcast. Like they come to us and we visit them, and they should come today, but they didn't come today, but we have. So we open discussion with other communities, the Filipino community, the Asian community, the Black community, and discuss things, and we have similar things, similar things to solve together and collaborate together. That's how we try to do that. Okay?
Absolutely. Thank you, Samina.
So, NISA support is in Pierrefonds. This is the address, and Ville de Pierrefonds, Roxville Pierrefonds, they are welcoming. Initially, as I mentioned, they had given us space to have our programming, which I really appreciated. And Samir Zubairi's office as well, they always come to us and let us know what are the different fundings available from the government. And I think as you were pointing out that I think the small community organizations, these groups, they know their needs. And I think this is why the government does kind of hand us this responsibility. Well, you know what your community needs. Yeah. So, go ahead and do it. So I think it is effective. And there was a time, I know 10 years ago, it was very difficult to get any funding from the government. It has become a lot easier. But one thing I would say is that, again, availability of any kind of help or funding is very, you have to be really out there and look for it. Sometimes,
the microscope.
Yes. And so maybe that could be something. While you already know there is lots of, because again, as we were talking before, any initiative takes a lot of hard work and commitment and consistency, right? And so I guess that could be something that the government could kind of already seek out these organizations that are making a difference and providing and helping and supporting them.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this amazing answers. And I would turn to our amazing audience. I don't think we have enough time, so we'll open for 2 questions. But really questions, not comments, if you may. Questions from the audience? Do I see hands? Oh, yeah. Someone in the back. Yeah. Can you take the... Here, take, yeah.
Hello. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for the event. It was very informative, very interesting. And I had a question concerning the policy changes. So as you've mentioned that many things are needed. One of them sometimes is to the networking and getting in coalitions and also pointing problems to whether you're MPs or you're a city or otherwise. Is it more like pointing what the problems are, or also do you need to find or think of the solution? What is your role? Is your role just pointing the problem or solving the problem? And if you do not solve the problem or suggest a solution, would something be done yet or not? Thank you.
I think that's a tricky balance, because you don't want to feed into the stereotype of whatever the problem is, and you want to create a positive vision of where you want to head towards. We had that problem with Welcome Collective. We were at the beginning of the period when there were a significant number of asylum seekers coming in. Community groups had a strategy of saying that we were overwhelmed, there's a crisis going on, we need help. We thought that would signal to the government to invest more and take action. And they said, okay, we'll just close the doors we're going to close Roxham Road, nobody's welcome in, we're overwhelmed, see, refugees are all the problem of our society. So I'm just giving you that example of, and now we're really reflecting on being really careful of the language that we're using and very conscious that we need to change the narrative about newcomers and talk in a positive spin and our contribution. So I'm just giving you that example because you said, do you want to point the problem? Or I think you have to navigate both. That would be my answer, because you need to say what the problem is as well. But I think you do also need to be solution focused and positive and sort of a hopeful vision. If it becomes a very dire situation, it will just feed on the stereotype, and then they're like, well, we can't help you, it's so bad, there's ongoing systemic issues, and this case proves the fact why we can't solve the problem. So that would be my answer.
Yes and. No, not yes and no, yes and also. I think MLAs and MPs are fairly knowledgeable. They have access to that expertise. It's to personalize more and to make the issue and more, actually put more pressure on the priorities that have to be decided on at a governmental level. But I think that's why I say and, because often we've noticed that to personalize a story, to put a real story on statistics makes it much more sexy in terms of policy making, and putting real people behind those multiple stories puts pressure also. So in that way, solutions often, the creative solutions often come from the community sector, and they're often less costly than policy questions, answers or solutions. But I think it's both, as you say, but it's more to make it a more personalized narrative. And sometimes you need to correct their knowledge also.
Okay, last and short question, if there is, yeah, I see someone. And short answers, please, because we are running out of time.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for well address all the problems that we see today. But actually, I think like the one who is like putting the policies, okay, as you like, governments, parties, whatever. They know the problems, but I think also, in the other hand, after what we see in the last elections, they investing these problems. So I'm have a doubts about that. They wanna be to solve it actually. This is what I think. I'm not sure if a lot of people share with me that, but if there is problems, it's not there. So where is the battle between the elections that we saw it the last one? So will be no, no erasing problem, and this party say that we will be solve it, and the other party pretending the other party that is be created. So I think, yeah, we have for many years addressed the problems from long times. We investing on investigations, on researches, everything about that one, but in the end of the day, that what I have a deep belief, someone, I don't know who, but this problem, it's never been solved because there is some people, they are like investing on these problems.
Yeah. So thank you, Amani, for this maybe a question, but anyone wants to relate to this question? Like the way so the way I understand is sometimes governments are moving the problem from a plate to a different plate, just not to deal with it. And how do we, as civil society organizations, address these issues and hold them accountable and not just let them play the game with us? This is your point, Amani? Yes. So. Anyone wants to say something about how not to be a game in the hands of governments and hold them accountable.
Can I say something
Yeah.
very brief? We have, as a community organization, as NGOs, yes, I agree 100% with you. Problems are there for years, but the willingness to change, that needs a push.
Yes.
And that's our role as NGOs.
Absolutely.
We create the will. We try to push to make it a change. Like if you didn't push, other things will come to the priority and they will not like pay the enough attention to your case or your problem. So you have to create the push. You have to create like the momentum to do the change. Change needs momentum. And you have to create as an NGO or as a community organization or as individuals. You have to build the momentum to create the change. Otherwise, yes, we all know that, okay, we should sleep early. But who sleeps early unless he has something to do or he feels that he needs like to rest a little bit. Other than that, so we need to do things based on momentum. We create the momentum as a community organization, and then the politician will respond.
Yeah. Yes, and I would absolutely end by saying that it's all about building collective power. NGOs can play a crucial role in promoting policy change. When we are able to work together, build coalitions, build our collective power. And usually the change comes from the bottom up. That's the change that people feel ownership towards it. And this is the solutions that we are talking about. When people are part of the solution, they are part of the process itself and they feel belonging to it. So it's really very important that civil society organization lead the process. We do understand that we are rooted in the communities. Sometimes it's it's only 3 hours from here to Ottawa, but it feels like really very far away because they are not aware sometimes of the problems or they frame it differently. So we really need to be there to inform them and to help the community communicate their issues and solutions to the governments and to the policy makers. And when we talk about transformative change, we are talking about the personal, the communal, and institutional level. This is how we create the holistic change. I want to take this opportunity to thank our amazing panelists. Samina, thank you very much for joining us. Panet-Raymond, thank you so much. Dina and Ahmed, and thank you all for this amazing discussion. And to be continued. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amal.
Thank you.